Let's get ready to grumble! Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the Royal Grumble! I'm your host Graham, sitting in the corner to my left, it's Daryl!
Hiya, hello.
Hello. Oh, fancy bit of kit.
It's like expensive paper, isn't it? It's like we've done this before, isn't it?
We've done this once. Sitting in the corner to my right, it's Dan.
Hi.
Hello, Dan.
Hi.
I don't like the way you've done your wall chart. Let's move on!
What wall charts are still available?
Yes, they are.
Wall charts
Royal
still available.
Grumble podcast.bigcartel.com. You can buy them there. I met someone this week who's into New Japan since I've last seen him. Hello. That's all.
You can get a digital wall chart as well, so I email you that. It's just £1.
Yeah, it's good. He was wearing a Kenny Omega, the cleaner New Japan t-shirt, the sort of 8-bit one.
Nice.
Hello.
Hi.
He knows who I'm talking about. Hiya. Good to see you. You're all right, you. Right.
That's the most vaguest shout out I've ever heard in my life.
But you never know, do you? You know, I don't want to embarrass people.
Hello, Phil from Kettering. There we go, it's Las Vegas.
It's not Phil from Kettering. It's from Doncaster, because obviously I don't leave Doncaster. You've
Phil from
spelled
Doncaster, who's on
wrong.
Ket. You were close.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think there's a very important subject that we need to discuss, isn't there?
What's that?
Well, I mean, I'm going to do it. It's
Go on.
JEFF, JARRETT, Ain't He Great tour.
I think
You're both welcome.
Yeah, cheers,
All
mate.
right.
I think this would probably
I don't have to thank you. He does.
in the
Thanks, Aiden.
No, your tickets were mine. I had the spare Aiden one. I gave you two my tickets.
I mean, all right then. Okay. Well, he's found a way.
I
Hasn't he?
know,
He always
as well.
finds a way.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
So, just for the listeners, because like now we've got to explain all this, because this is just an argument that doesn't make sense now. Basically, Dan entered a competition to get free Jeff Jarrett tickets.
Well, I was going to lie and say we had press passes.
I don't
But
care.
we've mugged ourselves off now. Yeah. Okay.
If only we prepared the show before.
Yeah. Maybe some kind of format, or we spoke to each other for more than 12 seconds.
And then friend of the show, friend of the podcast, Aiden.
Hello.
Also won some tickets. So there were two spare going, weren't there?
Yep.
So me and Graham
Went
big
down, didn't we?
tickets, Yeah. At Sheffield Library Theatre.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a big pot for the old EVW venue.
Yeah.
That's what the people
How
want.
did they fit a ring on that stage?
I can't figure it out, but then, like Aiden said, that was the venue that had the first Will Ospreay vs. Zack Sabre Jr. match,
Remarkable.
which is ridiculous.
Just absolutely remarkable, yeah. But it was something to do with a license issue, wasn't it? Someone didn't have a license and someone did.
Yeah, DQ in Sheffield didn't have a license.
Yeah.
A license for what?
With a license for wrestling. Basically, they booked
Is
a
that a
wrestling.
thing that exists?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess so.
Yeah, they do. It sometimes comes under the same boxing license. Depending on the council, it's either the entertainment license or a boxing sporting license.
Anyway, the point is, one venue didn't have a license, one did. So Sheffield Library Theatre it was for Will Ospreay against Zack Sabre Jr.
Brilliant. So, yeah, it was Jeff Jarrett, Ain't He Great tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like a live shooting interview, basically, weren't it?
Yeah, we're good.
For want of a better word. Aired live on Fight TV,
Yeah, we've been on Fight TV.
in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we have.
Back of his heads have at least.
Well, we were there.
Yeah.
Don't be.
Yeah,
You're getting too specific.
Yeah, so if your view were blocked, felt light bouncing off top of my head. Soz.
Not have a hat on.
No,
Like a
no,
cowboy hat.
no,
No,
that was
not
later.
That would.
was
Yeah,
later.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, so after the interview and after the little sing song we had, I got to meet Jeff Jarrett, didn't I?
You did get to meet Jeff Jarrett. Right. I've known you for what? Oh, I mean, I guess closely long, not as long, but say roughly 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. I've literally never seen him this happy.
I said the first time you met him, you thought he was miserable.
Well, yeah.
Like
exactly.
your first impressions were he's miserable. That's
Yeah.
a solid first impression.
There's miserable Daryl from One Up Games. Just, do you want any help? Yeah, I do. Oh.
Yeah, well, because basically I
Why?
was playing on computer and then you came in and disturbed me, didn't you?
The best part about it was, from what I could hear from stood next to it, the guy who was setting up the photos came up to you with the Double J hat and the AAA Mega Campion title and said, "Do you want to wear the belt or the hat?" And you just said, "Yes, please."
Yeah.
And the guy looked a bit confused and then just tentatively gave you them both. And then you turned around to Jeff Jarrett and went, "Can you make a guitar as well?"
Yeah. Yeah, so they were raffling off, because it's not a wrestling show without a raffle. They were raffling off one of the old TNA Jeff Jarrett guitars. So somebody won it, but they were waiting for
Not
Jeff.
me.
Yeah.
Not, even though I'd bought 5 tickets.
They were waiting for Jeff to sign it, and it was just sat on the side. So like, well, I'll get me use out of this. So I got him to pretend to hit me off an Edward guitar.
He seemed pretty happy with it, didn't he?
I will love in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Love it.
The only thing that matched your joy in that photo was his.
Yeah.
Yep.
He actually looks genuinely happy in it.
So why weren't you this happy at my wedding?
Jeff Jarrett weren't there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is my fault. Sorry.
I mean, when he did play the video of your one match,
Yeah, he was quite pleased with that, to be fair.
Yeah, there were wrestling involved there, weren't there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
if there's one criticism, I've got a list, but if there's one criticism of your wedding,
Great.
there were lack of wrestling there.
We had wrestling figures on every table.
Yeah, but
For
I
a
mean,
while.
like live wrestling.
well,
I feel like if someone's getting married next, I'm just looking across the table, there should be a live wrestling show.
I won't be doing it, but our super fan Paul will be having wrestling at his wedding, and I hope he invites all three of us.
Is there actually going to be wrestling there?
Yeah, he wants to have wrestling at his wedding.
Can we buy VIP?
Oh, it'll be UKW. Jonathan Sedgwick's
Oh my
going
God,
to be
of course
at
it
his
will be.
wrestling.
Yeah.
I saw Cedric
It's
last
like
week
Jimmy
as well.
Blood. Is
I
Jimmy
forgot
Blood
to tell you
still
two about that bit. Blood will have blood. I don't think
Yes.
he is now.
Blood will have blood
Sedgwick was
on the
filming
wedding day.
the Tidal wrestling show I went to last Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
How was that?
It was all right, yeah.
You went to the early show, not the late show.
No,
is
I
that
didn't go
right?
to the evening show. I just went to the
Yeah.
afternoon show to watch the women's show.
Good.
It's women's.
It's women. We'll get back to that. Oh.
But yeah, very good. It was a very decent little show. It's a strange little venue.
Well, is it stranger than the Library Theatre, though?
No, because at least the fans are surrounding the ring.
Good.
Yeah.
G1, let's go. What's been happening,
G1.
Dan?
So I'm actually up to date completely.
Dan's up to date with the G1. Hit the.
Do you know what?
Hit the horn.
I was going to try and be up to date. I watched the first 2 nights and then just not watched any more
Well,
since.
when do you have the time? If you don't have the time, I definitely don't have the time.
I watched yesterday's show on the tram on the way into town for the main event, and today, while going to pick up our tickets for the football match we're going to later,
Yes.
I was watching the first 2 or 3 matches of today's G1 show while walking up and down from the club shop.
Excellent.
Because I need to stay up to date. So the big stories in the G1 so far, Okada started turning it around, but he's still mental.
Yep.
Tanahashi's having a pretty good run. Jay White's starting to taper off a little bit. He's on 6 points right now.
Yep. Good.
Yep,
Good. Taper off, mate. You're awful.
Yeah, he's starting to taper off. Yoshihashi got made to look like the biggest jobber in the world yesterday against Okada. The match itself was actually really good, but then the aftermath when Okada in the interview said it's something along the lines of, this isn't the type of match you really try your hardest. This is the type of match you win and get out of the way. That's his stablemate Yoshihashi is talking about.
Ooh, dissension in the ranks.
Yeah, in the B block, the B block's the much better one. We got a 5-star match in there. We've had 2 5-star matches in the B block already.
Yeah, but I mean,
Was
Oh no,
it-
sorry,
was
3.
Was Omega Naito
3.
5-star?
Yeah, Omega Naito,
But
Omega
5-star's
Goto.
Like the new 4 3/4.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like Daryl's had a 5-star match at this point.
Yeah.
So Omega's had 2
And
against
I'm retired.
Naito and against Goto. And then Ishii versus Goto also got the 5-star treatment. Ibushi was mental today and did a moonsault off of a
Can I just
balcony again.
have a moment of appreciation for the fact that you said star treatment, and that's the first track on the Arctic Monkeys Tranquilla Base Hotel and Casino album.
Are you pretending to like that still?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I appreciate your pretense. It's commitment to the cause, isn't it?
Are there any matches that are
I mean, to
4,
be fair,
4
if
out
you-
of 5 stars? Because that's another track on the album.
Ah, very good.
I'm not sure. I was surprised to find there's been 3, to be honest.
See, to be fair, if I had a tattoo of something on my body, I would probably have to commit to that to 100%, regardless of
the
whether
other
it's good or
album,
not.
you know the last good album they did?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that one, isn't it?
Yeah, no, but my point is, if you put something on, you've got better be prepared to back it up.
Yeah, I mean, that Star Wars film weren't that good either, were it, to be fair?
It's gone really well for you, hasn't it?
And Russians have invaded, haven't they? So that one's down as well.
Well, the other big thing, so Omega's still undefeated. Ibushi's lost 1 match. Toru Yano is still to win a match, and Tama Tonga keeps getting DQ'd. But Toru Yano is probably having the greatest run of his career because he's actually having great matches, not just his usual cheating roll-up stuff. He's actually trying to win matches.
All
in
I'm saying
legit
is,
way.
he went to Doncaster, now he's better. So,
I mean, he's not winning matches. though.
not the point.
He's
not
on,
the point.
He's on the big 0 here.
Well, I mean, you know, if you're gonna measure it by wins and losses, what sort of tournament is it?
I mean, Tamatonga's been DQ'd quite a bit, and so's Fale, and Tamatonga's even managed to get 2 points.
Tam Tonga's also managed to get himself in a Twitter feud with Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I thought
Are they related?
Yeah.
That's not a racist thing. All Samoans
I
are related.
genuinely
aren't
do.
they?
they're part of the same family because his dad's Haku, and Haku is Rock's uncle, I think.
Okay.
He's
He's
related to
proper
Rock.
uncle, though.
Yeah, he's in the family. Like they are. Like
Well,
sent-
hang on. That's not his proper son, though, is it? Haku and Tam. I was reading about it. I think that's like his. I don't know. I was reading online, and Haku went on holiday somewhere to visit family, and then there was something happening with Tama Tonga's family.
Okay.
So he brought. I don't know if he brought Tama Tonga back, and
This is great content.
and
Yeah.
all right. Well, we'll just leave it then.
Well, right,
We'll leave it then.
Well, all right. Well, let's
It's murky water.
We'll leave it then. The bastion of fucking radio.
get the swear jar. You owe the swear jar. Now he owns the swear jar. There you go.
Bastion is not a swear word.
No, but the F word is. Do you want to listen to what he's actually saying?
I didn't
Okay.
swear. No, I didn't swear. He didn't hear me. It's
Literally,
fine.
he's not even listening to what you're
I
saying.
am listening. I
as
just
you
missed
say
that
it.
one
There you
word.
go.
I'm tired, all
We
right?
wondered whether or not he listened to the podcast. He doesn't listen to it whilst it's being recorded. Anyway, Tama Tonga, yeah, adoptive father. There you go. Yeah,
Still
it's
counts.
cousins. Well, clearly, yeah, it's cousins. They're part of the We're All Mates family, but they're not like actually related. But yeah, they're having a go at each other. So
It's
I don't-
quite fun.
he was trained by the Dudley Boys, Tama Tonga.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Well, his dad's a wrestler. Yeah, go and train with the
Yeah, but
Dudley Boys, then come
As
back.
much as I like Haku, his dad's famous for biting a guy's nose off in a bar fight.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Yeah, that's it for the G1 so far. Then, any further predictions for the rest of the tournament at this point, Dan? Since we're roughly at the halfway point.
Omega's going to lose only one match in this tournament.
Who to?
Ibushi,
There you go then.
which will
Ooh.
tie them because Ibushi will get to the end with only losing one.
Yeah.
That will tie them, and then that because it's head to head, Ibushi goes to the final.
And then
Yeah.
will Wrestle Kingdom be fabulous with them to a main event?
Very good. I'd be up for that. I'd be
Lots of glitter and confettis
obviously.
and a float.
Splendid. Speaking of tournaments, Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle's pulled out of a tournament. Pulled out of the PWG Battle of Los Angeles.
Yeah, because it was rumored and no one was really talking about that he might be off to WWE, and then CZW, because they're great at doing stuff like this, posted a graphic that said Matt Riddle in his literally the graphic says Matt Riddle in one of his final indie appearances before going to WWE.
Hilarious.
It's legitimately what he said on the promotional graphic they put
don't
out.
give a what Daryl said earlier on, do they?
Bastion.
Yes, they don't give a bastion at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's good for Matt Riddle. This was kind of always the goal for him.
Well, what I am led to believe that early on this week, mysteriously, WWE were like, you know what, weed, not that bad. So don't worry about it, lads. It's not that bad. On an unrelated note, Matt Riddle might be coming in. Just saying.
I'm quite happy for him. He's a proper lovely bloke. Likes a cuddle.
Will he come in Will he come in as a heel or a face?
He can't be a heel.
NXT will be a face, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I don't know. In my head, because he's got this whole bro thing on. I'd be like, I'd get a bit annoying after a while, wouldn't it? Surely.
But he's so
Wait till he gets to main roster and they ruin him.
Yeah, that's true. That's when when
Yeah.
he'll get annoying, and he'll be teamed with the Miz.
Yeah.
It'd be the equivalent of Asuka losing to Carmelo and like him losing to half the roster.
Yeah. Speaking of the Miz, by the way, my theory's coming true, innit?
What's your theory, mate?
Well, Miz is having a feud with Daniel Bryan now.
Yeah.
Get it out of the way at SummerSlam because they want to make the money before Daniel Bryan leaves in September.
So there was a thing
It's
going
happening.
around
It's
that
happening, I'm
he
telling you.
re-signed the other week. Has that
Yeah.
not been confirmed?
No.
Okay.
It might, to all seriousness, he might have re-signed, but whilst they're doing this Miz and Daniel Bryan feud now, I'm going, yep, clearly, look, I'm right.
And then is he going to be at Ring of Honor in April?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah. It's destiny.
Oh, don't get me wrong. If he leaves, he's definitely going to be that Ring of Honor show.
It's destiny that I'm going to get these tickets, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah. I've manifested it. I've put it out in Universe and it's destiny. because
Manifest Destiny.
I've
You're not going west. You go just on the East Coast.
Yeah, because what's happened is I signed up for ROH Network, whatever it's
Honor
called.
Club, whatever it is, yeah.
And then literally the day after, the new rotor got put up at work, and I didn't request it. The day the tickets go on sale, boom, day off.
Yes.
So I can be in my pants and get my tickets.
It's always good. Be comfy
Yeah,
in bed
but
while you're stressing.
I'd
over
like to
tickets.
apologise to literally everyone for the image of Daryl in his pants.
If we can go back to Matt Riddle
can
a
send
second,
you
because I want to tie it into something I forgot to add to the format.
Yep.
So Matt Riddle's last indie appearance, if he is to appear on at NXT on SummerSlam weekend will be Joey Janela's Lost in New York main evented against PCO.
Right.
Did you see the announcement they made? It was supposed to wait till Monday, but they decided it couldn't wait that long. So can you remember Spider-Nate Webb?
Yes.
The song he comes out to specifically. Because he was a deathmatch guy.
Right.
But he comes out to Teenage Dirtbag.
Okay.
So they posted a video up of MJF, who's, I think he's on like 22, he wrestles in CDW, I think he's CDW champion at the moment.
Right.
And it was a video of a fat kid who was supposed to be him 10 years ago, doing karaoke, doing Teenage Dirtbag and getting booed off the stage. And then it cuts to modern day, and everywhere he goes, he continually hears that song, and that's why he's always angry and why he's a bit of an idiot. I nearly said, I nearly had to
He nearly had to pay £1 instead of 50 he already owes, which hasn't paid yet.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I brought Jaffa cakes as interest. It's his interest.
Interest indeed. Good. I'm going to eat one now.
So yeah, they posted this video of him
like
getting continually annoyed about everywhere he goes, even like ice cream trucks and stuff. The song's always morph into Teenage Dirtbag. And then they finished off the video saying it's him versus Spider-Nate Webb, played out to the ring by Wheatus.
Oh, that's
Wheatus are performing at Joey Janela's Lost in New York.
The only way it would be better is if they were played out by Weezer, who play the song now. Have you ever heard about this? About Teenage Dirtbag, right? Because people get Weezer and Wheatus mixed up, partly because the lead singer has glasses and they sound similar. Weezer just started playing Teenage Dirtbag. They were like, it's a good song. We like playing it. So, we'll just play it now.
They've been doing it for a little while, and he still doesn't remember all the lyrics. He has to have the lyrics on stage with him on a piece of paper because he's just doing it for the sake of doing it. But it's... I know I was saying to you, it's very unlikely you'll get a chance to go to spring break, but the Joey Janela shows are always ridiculous, and this just tops it.
I will say, getting played to the wing by Wheatus is hilarious. Maybe they can play their version of A Little Respect for someone as well, because they're the only two Wheatus songs that anyone knows.
It's a very good cover, that. I'm a big fan of original, but it's a good song.
I liked it. Yeah.
I get so caught up I even try and hit the high notes, which, considering my low voice, doesn't really work.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah. So speaking of NXT, Tommaso Ciampa is the Champion. Yeah, boom, fantastic.
They changed the title. Is this the first time they've changed the title on TV since pre-takeovers?
It's in years. Yeah, I don't think it's the first time ever, and it might not even be pre-takeovers.
Well,
but
Neville won it on the first takeover.
Yes, he did.
Neville lost it on a takeover. Sami Zayn lost it on a takeover. Kevin Owens lost it on a takeover. Finn Balor lost it on a takeover. Yeah,
probably
this is the first one since pre-takeover.
I think it's possible that there's something else that we're not remembering.
With the one on the house show, didn't Smojo and
Nakamura
there you go.
switch it?
I knew there was another one somewhere. That's probably why I was getting confused. But wasn't it Smojo and Finn Balor?
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. Either way, yeah. But you might. I think this is the first time it's on a TV show in a long time. Certainly.
Yeah.
Partly because of the tape nature, it's really hard for them to keep it quiet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's near impossible, but it didn't lessen the impact of the match.
No, I watched all of NXT this week, and I haven't watched a full episode of NXT in normal NXT in maybe over a year. So
I've actually watched the last 2 weeks, and I watched 205 Live this week.
Oh, here we go.
He's got time on his hands, hasn't he?
Yeah. Where are you getting all this time from?
It's when I get home from work. I just put stuff on in background, and we had 3 days off at G1, so. I managed to catch up on some of it.
205 Live.
Oh no, Drew Gulak versus Hideo Itami was awesome. It's the best Hideo Itami match since he's come to WWE.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. They just slap crap out of each other.
Mint.
But the other part of it, that was my shorthand. That's 5-star and a mustache because
they were on the same show. They could give the Undisputed Era a bit of a kick in, didn't they?
Well, on the show before they had a tag match. Mustache Mountain lost the tag titles to the Undisputed Era, and they got 5 stars for it, which is actually the first ever WWE 5-star tag match.
Really?
Yeah.
That's remarkable.
The reason I know this is because when Trent Seven came out of Fight Club last night to do his pre-show amble, it took him... I don't think he even got to the ring before he mentioned the fact that he got a 5-star review. And then he started reading the full review, put his phone away and went, nah, I'm only kidding. I know it off by heart. And started...
That is pretty funny. I'll give you that. That's the sort of thing we would do, I think.
But it's kind of crazy that, a guy from Wolverhampton and a guy from Dudley have the WWE's only 5-star tag match.
Yep.
And they're not even full-time WWE guys.
Great bunch of lads.
Yeah, it's a decent accomplishment for a WWE match to get it.
Well, following off of that with Tyler Bate, for Progress spoilers, everyone's Progress spoilers, mark them. Progress spoilers. So they had the first midweek show in a long time, isn't it?
Midweek Matters.
There's a lot going on with Progress. We've got something else to talk about shortly after this. But yeah, tell us about Midweek Matters.
Well, the big part of it was we have a new world champion.
Yeah.
Walter finally won the title.
Dan's fuming. He's like, he doesn't deserve that title. Dan hadn't earned it. From another country, he's one of them foreigners.
Coming over here, taking our titles.
Yeah, that's what Dan said about it.
I say stroking my ring cam shorts that I'm wearing right now.
So Walter!
Yeah, Walter. I mean, I'm very happy he's champion. The only issue I have with it, I think I talked a bit about it last week, Progress have a sense of inevitability with the storylines they do, and it's felt like, okay, Walter's going to win the title at some point. I'm glad they did it before Wembley. Because
I think it was always going to be here, though, because I think it was always going to lead up to... Because this is my long-winded theory on this. So, Defiant, what was Defiant, wasn't it, that had that Travis Banks, Volta, and I reckon they got wind of that happening. Yeah. Decided, we're going to do that match. Look at us, we're doing the match. And, without sort of... And then Progress was still rolling onto that, and then obviously the Zack thing happened. He got pulled off the... He got pulled off the card. So, what looks like the direction going forward then, Dan?
So, in the match, TK Cooper tried to interfere, and Tyler Bates stopped him.
Yes, he did.
And I think I predicted before I could see it being a 4-way, and I couldn't figure out who the fourth person was. And now I'm pretty certain Travis Banks and TK Cooper are going to ensure they're both in the match, so they've got an advantage against Walter.
Yeah.
And then the other person with 3 points will be Tyler Bate.
Is this going to be the end for the South Pacific Power Trip? Come Wembley. Are they going to dissolve?
Well, actually, that's if Banks is in it, because something happened last night.
All right, okay. More Progress spoilers, big Progress spoilers these days.
Well, it was Travis Banks versus Kyle Fletcher yesterday at Fight Club Pro.
Yep.
And Kyle Fletcher lawn darted him into the corner.
Fight Club Pro spoilers, yeah.
He lawn darted him into the corner, and he kind of landed awkwardly, and he. It looked like he separated his shoulder, meaning you could see the bone was out of the socket underneath the skin. It was disgusting. And Travis Banks was sat in the ring trying to put it back in the socket while people were distracting everything, so Travis could kind of recover enough to do a finish. And then he got put in an ambulance during intermission. I hope he's okay and it's not a serious injury, but it looked pretty bad.
Ew.
Yeah, and especially with the US tour and everything coming up, he's in Bowler, he's got Wembley. You'd hope he's not.
That sucks.
Yeah,
I imagine Progress might be I mean, this is going to sound bad, but they might be slightly glad that he at least lost the title already.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, that's
surprised John Bradley hadn't tweeted about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, John Bradley, what a lovely man he is. So we're straight into that now.
What, John Bradley Customer Services?
Oh yeah, John Bradley. Yeah,
that's a great parody.
At Bradley Customer Service 1, something like that. Either way, the point is that Progress have rearranged their is it November? They've rearranged one of their dates.
Yeah,
anyway,
to a Monday night
because it was conflicting with WWE at the Liverpool Olympia, and suddenly it's been moved to a Monday night. And
all the tickets are still
valid. All the tickets are still valid for this evening Monday show that's no longer on a Sunday.
Change your plans.
So just change your plans, everybody. Just deal with it, says John Briley.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not a direct quote. That was pretty much how he behaves. How are they still how is this guy still on their Twitter? He is horrible.
They should just let Glenn take over it, because he seems decent on stuff. So yeah, it's a bit worrying the way he treats fans sometimes.
Do you know, I genuinely, the way I read some of the stuff that he says, I genuinely almost get the feeling that he's like, oh, it's my thing. You know what I mean? It's like, it's my thing that I do. This is just the way that I speak. It's part of my gimmick.
Yeah, it's a bit...
Pack it in being an... Don't do that.
Yeah,
for a company whose slogan,
Don't be a doorknob head.
He does tend to break the one rule a bit. Yeah, the parody tweets that have come out, the best one was, I've had a phone call from Uncle Paul. WWE's booked a house show in Ohio on September 30th, so Wembley's moving to December 25th. No refunds as per our terms and conditions.
Excellent.
I just sorted out all my travel plans for that week, and it's going to be ridiculous.
Nice.
So my week will be Tuesday night at IPW.
Mm-hmm.
I get to stay in my own bed Wednesday. Thursday morning I travel to London to go to Pro Wrestling Eve. Friday, I travel up from London to Wolverhampton for Project Mayhem Night 1. I travel back to London the next day to spend the weekend in London before travelling back to Sheffield on the Monday.
Sounds good.
It's going to be a bit overkill, but it's going to be good.
All Progress's music got changed again, didn't it?
Yeah, I got to hear some of the themes yesterday. They've put them all
They're
on YouTube.
yeah.
There were a guy Affis came up and played them for me and Aidan in the queue at Fight Club yesterday, and yeah, they're very.
What I don't understand is, like, surely didn't they did this once?
I'm guessing, like, they're going on network. Any denials about that now? Because ICW's done the exact same thing. They've got really generic music for everyone. The only thing is, if WB has it on the network, they have to pay the license holders still, even though they've given Progress the permissions to use them. They still have to pay a fee because they're a public company.
Right. So WWE
And
have
the
gone back and,
fees-
we don't really want to pay that.
I know for films in America, it's about 20 grand. I don't know what the fees are for television, but I can imagine it's a pretty penny per song.
So do we reckon this is all like CFO generic stuff?
Yeah. It's one of this person who's managed to keep his music is Walter.
Yeah.
because his is a classical. Sorry.
Yeah,
this is a classical
it's
music.
Dvorak.
So, it's all right.
So yeah, Walter's still got his. So Walter's still got the complete package, but there's a few others where it's like the theme. TK Cooper's theme is really bad compared to the theme he's always had.
Yeah, but
which-
if it was just like a quick fix, then maybe over time they'll get better music.
Yeah, it might be like the Pete Dunne thing where like he had music at first and then as time's gone on they switched his music to something a bit better. And Pete Dunne, by the way, came out to his music first off and then it cut into You've Got a Friend in Me because he was teaming with Miller McKenzie.
Yeah.
so
this is
he-
a Fight Club Pro.
So he tried to go backstage and not be involved in the match, and then eventually walked out and decided to try and team up with British Strong, like have British Strong Style in the match instead,
Right.
and leave Millie by herself because she changed his music.
Relating to Fight Club Pro, God, I don't know how to say. Is it Miko
Satomura.
She's been announced for the Mae Young Classic.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing her in it because she is genuinely one of the best wrestlers in the world. Pete Dunne's completely right on that one.
Yeah. Right. So you had the cheek to put a TNA event on our board.
It's Impact Wrestling.
It's TNA though, isn't it? Like, you
Yeah,
know,
it'll never not be TNA.
you can call it Snickers all you want, but it's still marathon. we're not gonna do it, are we?
I'm gonna.
So
Insignia and scope. Here's the post office and the Spastic Society.
It is a direct quote for Alan Partridge, everyone. Just bear that in mind, all right?
So
yeah. I knew he was going to do it.
It's not swearing.
There was
He
a lot
couldn't
of-
not do it, could he? Let's be real.
there was a lot of talk coming out of Slammiversary this weekend, so I actually watched the show, and I've watched everything apart from the main event because no matter how great a show is, I'm not watching the main event of Moose versus Austin Aries. That's a bit too far for me. But there was
You watched some tripe though.
yeah, but Moose versus Austin Aries. The guy whose gimmick is a bit of an idiot and he carries a banana with him.
What, Austin Aries?
Yeah, and then Moose, who's doing this whole thing.
It's not even a rise into it, is he?
That's Austin Aries' gimmick entirely, yeah.
it is.
And then Moose is just, he thinks Earth's flat and that, doesn't he?
Austin Aries' gimmick is that he puts his banana in women's faces. Don't
Yeah,
forget that one.
more onto
So-
the topic later.
Yep.
But the big things on Slammiversary, there was 3 matches that were like hardcore matches that got blood, which was a bit weird. But 2 they all kind of made sense, so it kind of works. There was Eddie Edwards versus Tommy Dreamer, where Eddie Edwards has gone crazy after his feud with Sami Callihan, and now Tommy Dreamer's trying to get him to be sensible again by beating him up and trying to set him on fire.
That is how I try to correct
yeah.
people, though.
I read that Tommy Dreamer got involved because Eddie Edwards wanted to murder a man.
Yeah, he wanted to murder Sami Callihan. He got to that stage and he went to the woods to murder him, and Tommy Dreamer stopped him.
Don't
Tommy
do
Dreamer,
a murder.
Yeah, Tommy Dreamer just lurks in the woods.
Yeah.
I was just here. This is where I live now. Bueller kicked me out.
There was LAX versus LAX. There's a few.
Right.
So there's a new LAX and the old LAX showed up. So it's Homicide and Hernandez with Eddie Kingston versus Angel Ortiz and Santana, who are the new LAX with
Right.
Conan in their corner.
Okay.
That was a
Conan's
really
in the
good
old
match.
LAX.
No, but Conan gave the LX name to new guys, and Eddie Kingston showed up and said, "You're a traitor," and he brought the OGs back.
Screams Sugar Babes, doesn't it? Or whatever
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
is.
exactly.
Is
It's
it
Sugar
But no,
Babes.
but
Yeah.
genuinely,
Sugar Babes all over again.
like I really like the new LAX guys. They're wrestling Beyond a lot and stuff like that. They're proper good, and I love Homicide. Hernandez, I can give or take.
See, I liked Keisha and Heidi, but he likes
Yeah.
Jade and the other one.
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea what you think. Wait, I know.
Obviously.
I'm guessing they're sugar babes.
Is it
but-
I only know the name of three.
Mucha Buena? Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
like Keisha, Mucha, and Siobhan. You like Heidi and Jade.
So the two big matches on this show were the opening four-way, which was Taiji Ishimori, Petey Williams.
How is they swung that with Ishimori?
Yeah,
How was he there?
He was in Impact before he came to New Japan.
All right.
But they've got a bit of a relationship because Don Callister's commentary for TNA, and
Well, I
he's
know
one of
that.
the creative
Yeah,
guys.
all right. I'm showing off.
Phoenix and John Morrison, who's Johnny Impact.
Bah.
Yeah, and it was a ridiculous match. And John Morrison didn't look out
So
of
it's
place
only
in
because
it.
you can't call him Johnny Tana.
Yeah. And then the other big
It's
match
TNA,
was
that's
Pentagon
good.
versus Sami Callihan
Oh, yeah.
in a mask versus hair match.
Great.
That was absolutely ridiculous. But it's quite
Pentagon
good
won.
to see that
I haven't even
yeah,
seen the show.
Pentagon won. Yeah, because Sami
Ain't no way
Callihan.
Sami Callihan is taking his mask in a studio in Orlando. Where was
It was
this one?
in Toronto.
I knew it
The
was
venue looks
actually in
really
a
great
arena.
though. Like the way it's set up and everything, it does look really great on television stuff. It's kind of funny. TNA now just a glorified indie promotion. They've got tons of indie guys. Oh, Brian Cage versus Matt Sidell was quite good too. Even though Matt Sidell nearly killed himself trying.
Popping the reefer.
He did a shooting star press, and
Got
I'm
into
guessing the idea
Japanese
was
jail.
for Brian Cage to get his foot up to kick him in the face on the way down. So he tried to land it short, and instead caught his feet on the ropes on the rotation, and nearly landed head first.
If he's in the hospital, he should give his mates the Twitter passwords. They can tweet and pretend he's okay.
But yeah, that was a really. And then he finished him with the Steiner screwdriver as well.
That's what happened when he went to Japanese jail.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot
So
that.
yeah, Impact seems to be at a bit of a turning point now, where they're a glorified indie with a TV deal, and that's what's actually working for them, rather than relying on old WWE names who can't really be bothered.
When you say it's working for him, what do you mean by that?
fans are starting to turn around a bit on them.
When you say fans, what do you mean by that?
There's a lot of
Him,
people.
he means him.
Well,
I know what you mean.
yeah,
No,
like,
I actually
there
sort
is
of know
there
what
is a
he
thing
means.
this past week where a lot of fans have, because they've heard so much good stuff about Slammiversary, have given it a
poor
chance, and they're going, actually,
7
it was a good show. It's like one of the best TNA shows in years, or Impact shows.
See, even he's
yeah,
saying
I
TNA,
do
we
it.
win.
And people are starting to give them a chance again now, so this could be a turning point for them going forward.
That's the name of a TNA pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, they've cut down
He's
the
done it.
pay-per-views as well, so the next one is Bound for Glory, which is at the is it Rosemont Theatre, the one that's in
Yes.
Madison Square
So-
Garden?
Oh, is it that? Though it is. I knew.
Yeah.
I knew it was. They said it was in New York. It's Madison Square Garden Theatre. No, it's they call it the Rosemont. It's fine.
Yeah.
Presumably because Ring of Honor were like, we went to the proper building. What have you done, TNA? Good lads. Right. So we promised last week we would talk a little bit about the goods and the bads of women's wrestling within the WWE, didn't we? With Evolution on its way.
Did we I don't think we
it
actually
was
mentioned it on
Evolution
the
was
show.
announced this week. Wasn't
Yeah. It's announced on Monday.
Okay, well, in my head we've done it. Yeah, so we've not addressed the biggest topic of the week, which is like they're doing an all women pay per view, aren't they?
Yeah, like Joe, because women are that strong that Triple H and Vince had to come down to help Stephanie announce it, didn't they?
Brilliant. Well, we'll talk
Well,
about
I'm just saying.
Oh,
That's
alright.
what
We'll
happened.
talk
Triple
about
H
this.
behind a mansplaining the pay-per-view idea.
So we'll talk about this in a little bit more detail and talk about some of the best and worst moments from the WWE women's divisions after this.
The Royal Grumble Podcast. He's fertile. Remember that.
Welcome back. We're talking about the WWE women's division.
Yes, get in.
It's women's.
It's what?
It's women's.
Sorry, the World Wrestling Federation Women's Championship. I'm begging you. Chimmel doing a wild line. Great. So, the WWE confirmed this week what was suspected. Earth-shattering announcement by Stephanie McMahon on Raw that there will be an all-women pay-per-view named Evolution in September. September?
Yeah, September, October.
I think, is it?
Should check that one.
It might even be on Little Mo Fruit's birthday. I'll check that whilst you fill. So, what do you think this means for the WWE? How do you feel about this stuff?
I'm in two minds, which is where this concept came from. On one side, it's really great that they're doing this all-women's pay-per-view and putting the focus on all women. But at the same time, even though we've been in this women's revolution that Stephanie McMahon invented for a few years now.
Well, she actually invented women, so...
Yeah. But we've been in this for a few things, and I made a reference in the first half. Carmella's beat Asuka twice. Cleanish. Like,
Yeah, and she's a
beat-
woman.
It's October. It's a month
And-
after Little Mo's birthday.
And we've got Well, we're going to go through the good and bad things WWE have done to do with women over their, like, let's say, like, the last 20 or 30 years, because I know mine starts in, like, 93. So we're going to talk about the goods and bads and figure out whether this pay-per-view, like, I feel like it's going to be a good pay-per-view and they're really going to, like, try hard with it, but at the same time, they've got a past.
They're bringing Trish and Lita in, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Well, Lita's going to have a match with Bayley by the list of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe she's literally thinking, like, all the damage they've done to you, I can't do any worse, so...
Just don't let Lita cut a promo and you'll be fine.
Yeah, or let her, transmit anything. So, no, I want to say very briefly before we... There you go. I remember when I used to subscribe to The Observer, and they were on about doing this, and Dave was always like, oh, well, you wouldn't like it if it was an all-black pay-per-view, though, would you?
Yeah, but Dave Meltzer, as
completely
we've
misses
discussed,
the point.
Yeah, as we've
Completely
discussed,
misses the
moron.
point.
And he hates women, so...
Broken idiot. I don't mean like, ooh, I'm broken, I've got wacky Matt Hardy hair. No, you're a moron, Dave. The fact that you cannot see that is a completely different thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a new level of, like, Dave Meltzer version of autism. Like,
well, this is the same guy who said
to be fair,
calling people Marks is the same as calling people another word to do with black people.
That is true. He's a moron, an absolute moron.
Yeah.
And he should take a long, hard look at himself, realistically.
Yeah, but he'll just flex in mirror. Won't
Yeah, that's true. He'll probably take a long, hard look at himself and go, look at me.
He's got better abs than John Morrison.
Yeah, and then he talks about, do you remember how he was about when Vince was pretty much his age, and he was like, Vince looks disgusted.
Yeah.
Well done, Dave, with your veins on your neck. So, do you want to start positive or negative?
I think we should start... Well, I feel like the negative stuff will be better to listen to, so we should start positive.
Yeah, okay, let's start positive. Right, tell me, Dan, one of the more positive memories you have of the WWE's treatment of women throughout the years.
Okay, so I'm going to start back in 1993 when the WWF decided to bring back the women's division.
Yep.
They signed Medusa, but renamed her Alundra Blaze. And when they realised they didn't really have any opponents for her, they started bringing in talent from All Japan, including an official relationship in 1995.
So this is All Japan Women, isn't it?
Yeah, All Japan Women, which was a massive promotion at the time with Bull Nakano, Aja Kong, and talent like that. We got a match at Survivor Series 1995, which was an all-women's Survivor Series match that featured a lot of All Japan women's talents. And it led to competitive women's matches. They really tried hard with Alundra Blaze to make the women's division something at the time during the new generation. As like a little bit of something different without it being, oh, look at the ladies. Alundra Blaze was like the big focus of it all. You had one or two other champions. The one I remember clearly is Bertha Faye win it?
Yep.
Yeah, Bertha Faye won the title from her. Alundra Blaze won the title back at an All Japan show, All Japan Women's show at the Egg Dome in Japan.
Egg Dome?
Egg Dome, yeah, which is now the Tokyo Dome, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah,
wouldn't say.
but like it was called like Big Egg Dome or something. The show.
Brilliant.
But yeah, this relationship was really
it looks
great.
like an egg, just call it an egg. It's like Eggman off of Sonic, innit?
Yeah.
Just call it an egg. It's just an egg.
But it was WWE trying to do something. Trying to do something really positive with the women's division that had kind of been tarnished in the late 80s by the screw job at WrestleMania 1 or 2. Which one was it? When Spider Lady rolled up Wendy Richter.
WrestleMania, was it?
WrestleMania?
No, I don't think so.
I remember Wendy Richter was on WrestleMania 1. But
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly.
She was on WrestleMania 1, but that wasn't.
And then
that.
Fabulous Moolah screwed her over for the title. I'm thinking we might be talking about Moolah more because I've got a sneaking suspicion it might be on the person's list who.
I mean, I will mention Moolah, but I don't think it's for why you think.
Probably
Okay.
not.
So yeah, that was a really big positive at the time. It ultimately ended with WWE kind of going back on it by releasing Alundra Blaze for cost-cutting issues in late '95, which led to her showing up on Nitro with the title and dumping it in the trash.
Maybe whilst you're releasing it, go, Alundra, could you just bring the belt back? Just leave it on the side as you go. Yeah, don't take it with you. Just leave it on the side, and then we'll definitely book you again.
It was a typical Vince McMahon thing where
episode of Nitro. What's she got? Oh dear.
Yeah, they tried for a year or so, and then Vince started to get disinterested, and by the end of it, he just released her out of nowhere and claimed it a cost-cutting measure that led to one of the most iconic moments on Nitro.
Yep.
When a WWE title got dumped in a bin.
Led to the Montreal Screwjob.
Yeah.
So yeah, in a way, it was her fault. Well done. In a more real way.
And then she went and drove monster trucks.
Yep. That's a pretty good career. Well, she's come back, didn't she? She pops up on occasion. I imagine
She
might be.
She was a cruiserweight champion in WCW as well.
Yeah, she was. I imagine she'll be involved in the pay-per-view as well, by the way, because she's back in the good books now, isn't she?
Yeah, it would be great to have her on the panel with JBL trying to do one over.
I don't think JBL will be on that panel, to be honest, mate. I don't think he will.
Do they'll have women commentators on it?
Beth Phoenix.
I think they'll have her and
Renee
do you
Young.
think they'd get Renee to do it? I don't know if they will.
I get they'll feel like they'll have probably like what's the guy Vic
Joseph.
Vic Joseph. It'll be him or something because he's like the least offensive of all the WWE commentators. They'll have him to mansplain the things so Beth and
Well, to be fair, then Michael Cole did the initial UK Championship tournament, and he was all right then.
Yeah, he was really good because he didn't have Vince in his ear, but Vince is going to be in their ears for this
might
one.
not be bothered though. Vince might be like, I'll just miss this one.
It's a pay-per-view. He'll be
busy.
bothered.
I'll just miss
Because
it.
it's not only
We got something on that
it's
now.
not
Is that
only
raining?
Yeah, it's raining.
Phenomenal.
It's not only a network pay-per-view. It's all your white clothes are going to look great.
Cheers.
It's not only a network pay-per-view. It's going to be on Sky Box Office in the UK. They've announced already.
Yes, that means I can pay 20 quid for what I can pay for 10.
Yeah, got to get that money. So yeah,
I'm going to focus on a negative, including someone that's in the company at the moment.
Okay.
Do you remember when Layla and Michelle McCool were Laycool?
Yeah.
They were good, weren't they?
All right.
Yeah, were they good when they were calling Mickey James Piggy James though?
No.
That were good. Remember that time that they did that and they were like, don't worry, Mickey James is going to get her revenge, and she won the women's title off of, I think, Michelle McCool.
Mm.
And then like a couple of weeks later just lost it.
Yeah.
Good.
It's kind of goes on with this WWE thing,
It's
especially at the time. This was during like Diva Search era, wasn't it? And when they literally picked women out of catalogue.
I think it was genuinely even slightly after the Diva Search.
Yeah, it was like 2000.
That's like Layla was in one of the Diva Searches, wasn't she?
Diva,
So.
Yeah, she was in one of the Diva Searches, but this is like after that, yeah.
But it's still in this period when John Laurinaitis is sat there with his swimwear catalogue going, ooh, she looks athletic.
Actually, I think by this point he was actually on TV going, hey, CM Punk, I'm just going to pull a weird face while you give me the GTS. Remember that?
Yeah.
I skateboard, dude.
Surfing, dude. Yeah, so...
But yeah, it's kind of this WWE thing of anything they can poke fun at with the women that they wouldn't
She's
do
not
with the
even
men.
big though.
Yeah,
She's about the same size as Layla.
but then like a few years before this, they were making fun of Molly Holly for being a virgin.
Oh yeah, Bants.
Yeah,
Look at you not having sex. You're free.
that was the focus of a women's storyline. You know, while all this heated stuff's going on, and then all of a sudden it's a virgin.
Mint.
Yeah. Daryl, do you want to throw one into the mix?
Yeah.
Right. By the way, so me
Yeah,
and
we don't
Graham
know Daryl's.
told everyone
Yeah.
our topics.
We're terrified.
Daryl has refused.
Do you want a bad one?
Go on.
Right, I don't know if I've read the room right here. Charlie Arse knocked Lillian Garcia off the apron.
I'm not certain this is women's wrestling.
Wait,
Yeah.
which led into a weird angle with Viscera, but it is because it involves Lillian Garcia and she's a female.
Okay.
So one of the clips I watched today, Charlie Arse comes down to the ring. Obviously, I've watched the one where he knocks her off the apron, but in addition to that, and he's got a microphone and he's talking to Lillian Garcia and he takes his top off. Right, just listen to this out of context. He grabs Lillian Garcia's hands as she said no on his chest. He said, "Don't fight it. You can feel this."
Oh, good.
I think that's a very bad moment for women in wrestling.
Wasn't that around the time that Viscera was hitting on Lillian Garcia? And then they transitioned into a tag team.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
my.
this Charlie Haas thing. But then, if I could go into one of my negatives,
Go on.
because the other two tie together, but I can bring this one in. He's only taking off after the boss, though, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
In terms of the way he's treating women.
lead by example, innit?
Yeah, so one of my negatives was, I've written on here, Vince McMahon's affairs, because I gave a specific example in our group chat.
Put the apostrophe in the wrong place.
I did.
That's why my notes aren't up on board, because Graham just criticises
That
them.
is true.
Yeah.
And I'd do it again.
So yeah, back in the late Attitude Era, Vince McMahon did an interview with Playboy magazine where he admitted to having numerous affairs. So because it was in the public eye, he started using it as storyline.
Do you think he admitted to that because he thought nobody actually read the articles in Playboy magazine?
Probably, yeah.
He's like, bunch of nerds reading the articles, they don't matter.
Excuse me. Bunch of nerds reading the articles, they don't matter.
But yeah, so they started using it in storylines, and a big focuser for this was Trish Stratus. And the segment in particular that I remembered was Vince making her
bark like a dog.
Yeah, strip off in the ring, crawl on all fours, and bark like a dog for him.
Sky didn't even show it.
Yeah,
Refused to show it.
Vince had a lot of bad stuff like this at the time. Like the whole thing with Trish Stratus where Linda was in a coma and he was getting off with Trish while she's laid in the hospital bed. And then also in the room when she's in the wheelchair, like catatonic, and he's there like making out with her and stuff. And yeah, it was all a bit... Because this was the same time. Like
Vince is in charge of creative, and he went, I'm going to get off with Trish Stratus.
Yeah, it's
odd
like,
that.
I'll take one for team, lads.
Yeah,
But-
I'll do this story. Don't worry, guys. I got this.
But yeah, like the Attitude Era was filled with lots of stuff, and I'm sure like Daryl's looked up straight away on this one.
All right, go on then.
But yeah, Vince, not only backstage but on screen, was the biggest perpetrator of a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, so I've got one. He's quite ahead of his time, to be honest. In like intergender wrestling and like treating women equally. It's the Jeff Jarrett
I got really excited there.
versus China feud.
I thought you were going to talk about Andy Kaufman.
Why?
I got really excited because Andy Kaufman was the intergender champion.
He wasn't in
He's
the
not going
Attitude
to talk
Era.
about Andy Kaufman in WWE, though, is he?
No, but he said ahead of
But
his
it's
time.
WWE.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we linked it to the Attitude Era. So anyway,
Yeah.
so like, and he was ahead of his time because like he had a woman with him, and that weren't like his side piece. That was just his manager. Like
Yeah.
he treated her with respect. Deborah, he said, Deborah, wear a jacket, but make sure you've got a bikini on that we can see. And like he didn't care if you were how old you were. If you're still a woman, so if you're Moolah, he's just going to smash off Ed with guitar. If you're China, just smash off Ed with guitar because all women are equal.
Yeah. How did Jeff Jarrett
He's a
describe?
bastion of equality, isn't he?
How did Jeff Jarrett describe this when we saw him the other day?
The women's situation.
The women's situation is what he called it.
Yeah.
He was clearly a bit like, yeah, it's a part of my career. Yeah.
I'll live with it. I thought he found it, very funny.
you were nearly.
I thought he found it very pithy and entertaining. There you go.
Yeah. The whole Jeff Jarrett women in their place storyline that led to him. Well, it didn't lead to him leaving the company.
No,
that was
but
kind of thing.
he got his comeuppance though.
Yeah.
This is why it's a good thing.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. That storyline was a good thing because the women ultimately got their revenge on him and were made to look like, especially China, who they were really pushing at the time.
Yeah.
Like she was made to look equal to the guys and win the Intercontinental title from him. So ultimately, it was a good story.
Yeah.
You know what was a good story? The Women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, it started horribly when Steph was like, hey, women, I've invented Women's Royal Rumble. Yeah, let's all have a cuddle together. Woo! Now you're all going to fight.
On that topic, like every time Stephanie makes one of these announcements, including for this pay-per-view, it riles me no end that they have all the women come out, all the ones who they're feuding and fighting all the time. But whenever there's a big women's announcement, Steph gets them all out on the thing, and they're all hugging and kissing and crying and stuff.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Over
We're
these
all
things,
mates,
it's like-
really, in a way,
Like
when
s-
Stephanie's here. But
You
actual...
know how this works. Sorry,
Yeah,
you know
I
how
know.
these stories work. If we believe they don't like each other, stop making them hug and kiss.
The actual Rumble, though, clearly better than the men's on that night.
Yeah, it
Clearly
was.
the most interesting, and ended with Ronda Rousey appearing.
Yeah,
They were cracking. I really enjoyed it. I hope they do more.
yeah.
I don't know if they'll be able to sustain a 30 women one, but...
I don't know. With all the women they've signed for the Mae Young Classic again, you'd
Yeah,
hope
that's
they'd do
true.
some
Yeah, I
more
guess.
and-
But I thought it were great. Really enjoyed it. Fantastic time. And I'm glad that they have instituted that because it shows some sort of level of equality, which it should be. And Asuka won back when Asuka was relevant
Yeah.
in January of this year. Remember that? In January of this year when two Japanese wrestlers rose above and won their respective Royal Rumbles,
Yeah, I remember that.
and then 2 months later were dead.
Oh yeah.
Asuka maybe took 2 months and a week.
Yeah, and then Nakamura's redeeming quality after that was...
He's talking about men already. Sexist.
Well,
Move on.
You brought the Japanese thing up.
No, you're being... Yeah. Stop bringing men into it. Sexist. Move on, Daryl.
So stop bringing men into it. What about WWE No Mercy 2003? Stephanie McMahon versus Mr. McMahon.
Oh my God, yeah. How have I
don't
not
remember this.
It was
How
it
do you
was
not
an I
remember
Quit
this?
match.
I remember the match
It was an
happening, but I
Quit
don't
match,
remember
but
anything.
Stephanie could win by pinfall as well.
Phenomenal.
Okay.
I didn't even know that.
You'll have to refresh me the details of
Oh,
it.
does he have to?
I believe they were fighting for control of SmackDown or something.
Okay.
Vince basically decided that he wanted Stephanie to stand down from SmackDown. Stephanie was a face at this time that no one liked because everyone remembered that she's still Stephanie and everyone hates her. And Vince was having, funnily enough, an affair with Sable. What are the odds?
Do you think Vince brings that up every time they
Yes.
have a negotiation with Brock?
Hey, remember when I banged your wife on TV? Anyway, let's move on. Why are you looking at me like that?
Brock's kids are in the room. Done your mum?
Hey, Brock, do you think your oldest looks like me?
I had your mom. Twice.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, go on then. Right, come on. You've got more to say about this Vince McMahon versus Stephanie McMahon match?
Not really.
No, nothing more to say about father versus daughter. Linda was involved.
Yeah,
that was good.
Linda were down there, was it?
She was somewhere around.
Yeah, was it good though?
No.
No.
The very idea is horrific. Like, it was bad enough when Vince and Shane had a match, but at least that's like sort of father and son is a bit more like, rough housing. Good God. Vince versus Stephanie. That was a real thing that happened.
So, I will get on to my last positive and negative together
Go on then.
because they tie into each other. So, one of the big positives was...
Spelled your name wrong.
Yeah, probably. I wrote it kind of in a rush while setting up everything.
Go on.
One of the big positives recently has been the NXT Women's Division that has translated into the WWE. And the best feud I think they had in there was Sasha versus Bayley in NXT, which you saw the culmination of it at in Brooklyn. Yep. And it was an absolute brilliant feud based on the women as competitors rather than you stole my boyfriend or I think you're ugly, I'm better than you type of thing. It was a solid storyline that ended in a ridiculously good match, and then they followed it up with a really great Iron Women, like the first women's main event in NXT.
Did they call it an Iron Woman or did they call it an Iron Man? I can't remember. I remember there was something about should it be one or should it be the other. I feel like they called it an Iron Man match.
How long was it? 30 minutes. Iron Women in it because they can't do 60. Boom. Next.
Same as Dolph.
Oh
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, don't compare him to Dolph though. They don't deserve that.
But yeah, like it was really great to see these two who had both risen in NXT, it was really focused on Charlotte Flair for a big period, and these two kind of came out from it and had this like defining feud for the women in NXT.
I knew very little about both of them before this show because it wasn't long before this that the network actually launched in the UK. I wasn't one who signed up when it was available in America, but I mean this match was just remarkable. My wife still talks about it now.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic, which brings me on to my negative.
Bayley
on the main roster, because out of all the people to come up from NXT, I don't think anyone has been completely and utterly ruined as badly as Bayley.
One night she was great. And that was the night she was still in NXT, and they brought her up as Sasha's tag team partner. And she got a massive pop, and she won the match. That was it. When she actually got brought up properly, they don't know how to book her, though. It's simple as that. The main roster, they don't know how to book her. She could... I've said this before on the show, and I stand by it. She could have been as big as John Cena. Easily.
You see the reaction she gets, especially from kids in the crowd and stuff. Like, you're getting girls showing up, and I'm not just talking about that one annoying one. Like, so many kids show up still in the crowd, dressed up as Bayley and stuff, and they clearly love her. And yet, like, at the time we said, but we know how easily it is for them to ruin her, and they've somehow managed to surpass even my biggest expectations of their, like, just terribleness.
Well, don't worry, they've been fair on her, though. Because what they've done now is they've brought Sasha down to that level as well. So they've killed her aura too. So it's equal. I think women are equal.
The ultimate killing of Bayley was the Extreme Rules kendo stick match with Alexa Bliss. Because Alexa Bliss is someone they've actually done all right.
I actually thinking back. Obviously, mentioned this. I genuinely don't think I've watched it, and I'm pretty confident I never will.
It's absolutely terrible.
I heard all about it.
It just made Bayley look like just the worst.
Yeah,
because she couldn't defend herself, and like you've got this big baby face who can't do anything against the heel. And it's like, well, okay, well, why? You just killed your baby face for the sake of pushing another person, but your baby face is the one who needs to be the one who's like does everything for you at the end.
So basically, again equal. They can't make baby faces on male or female rosters, so it's equal.
Yeah. Do you know what else is equal?
What?
the fair judging of NXT Season 3.
Oh.
Specifically the episode where CM Punk's on commentary.
Good God.
So it
It's
comes
CM
down...
Punk, who I'm pretty confident isn't...
His wife's on the show.
Yeah, his wife's on the show. I imagine if you ask CM Punk now, how do you feel about women and equality? He'd be like, oh, yeah, but women deserve... like, yeah.
Yeah, he calls Axana a little robot boy.
Great.
So when he's in commentary, he's in his ring gear, but he's got a blazer on. And he says, it's funny, I'm actually not wearing pants, and that's how I watch NXT every single week.
What a lovely man CM Punk is, yeah. I'd love someone to show that back to him now. I'm sure he'd be so apologetic. It'd be one of the first times he's actually probably gone back on something.
I mean, this is the guy who, and I'm claiming this isn't a swear word because it's in the Bible.
He's going to talk about the FIP, the false count anywhere.
FIP, no false count anywhere against homicide, where they brawled into a strip club next door to the venue, and CM Punk turned around to a girl who was dancing near them and screamed, "You're a whore," in her face, and then refused to properly apologise to her afterwards because she was upset that someone would shout, "You're a whore," in her face.
He's a lovely man, isn't he?
Yeah.
Do you remember when he used to just go through the roster? Maria, Lita,
Beth Phoenix,
Mickey James.
Further back than that, he got Daphne fired from Ring of Honor because he'd gone off with Tracy Brooks.
Yep. Lovely man. All about equality for women.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to bring up was something I think gets overlooked a little bit, probably because of the era, because it's a very short period. So the women's title disappears in 2001. Chyna won the women's championship at WrestleMania 17, defended it maybe twice, and then she gets injured, she disappears from the company, and then the title resurfaces at Survivor Series 2001 in a six-pack challenge. And that was Trish Stratus' first women's championship. And for a very short period of time, they actually put a refocus on the sort of athletic side of the women's division. Trish Stratus became a fighting champion. There was a lot less focus put, so in terms of the angles at least, on like the sort of TNA aspect of it. Not TNA, T and A.
Oh, yeah.
Not Test and Albert either. No. Breasts and buttocks. And they focused a lot more on sort of the actual competition of the women's division, and that match was also the WWF debut of Jazz, which again she became quite a dominant champion around that time. The only issue that obviously sort of hinders it a little bit is because it was still that time when the women were sort of seen as a bit of they were before the main event match. And like for example, WrestleMania 18, she actually competes in Toronto in her sort of hometown for the women's championship at WrestleMania, which must have been a big deal for her. And I think it's really positive to see that at the time they encouraged people to they encouraged the women to sort of at least show some kind of athletic prowess, and that was a particular positive for me because it's the first time that I saw them present them as anything other than sort of something to look at.
It's almost like Vince does this thing where someone persuades him that the women should be athletic, and then after a little while he's going, after a little look
while,
at them in bikinis.
After a little while, he's I got an idea for a women's title match. Well, okay, tell us about it. We're gonna get a bowl. Okay, that's a little odd, but go on. We're going to have them wrestle in the bowl. Okay, so like a Lions Den type match. No. Gravy. The Gravy Bowl match. Or as Chimmel said, the Gravy Bowl, the Gravy Bowl match.
Lovely segue work, by the way.
Thank you very much. Yeah. But truly an awful concept and a terrible match.
Yeah. So what I'd say to our listeners is send in your suggestions of the best and worst of women, and we will discuss them briefly next week. Before we get on,
you got any more?
Yeah,
Daryl's got quickly run through the list.
Yeah, let's run through it quickly.
Okay. So
not even because we've not got time, but because I don't want to hear you go into detail.
Live Sex Celebration.
Oh God.
Asuka in NXT. That was a good one. That.
Yeah, that was a good one. She was brilliant.
I got the Four Horsewomen as well. Oh, Vicky Guerrero, excellent heel. She was brilliant.
Yeah, she was.
I didn't add Michael Cole's NXT gong. That was part of the the thing. And I think we should end on. I think we should all finish on Sable in that handprint bikini.
Oh my. Well, Evolution. Let's see where this takes us.
Evolution is a mystery, isn't it, mate?
It is. Splendid. Well, we'll see where it leads. Hopefully, this really is an evolution of the women's product in WWE, and hopefully we can get some more positives, especially since there's been so many negatives lately with Carmella and Asuka and Charlotte disappearing and Bayley and Sasha. Maybe someone like Ronda Rousey, a star like that, is who they need to pin their women's division on to take it up to the same level as the men.
Yeah.
That's it for the Royal Grumble for this week. Don't forget to go to facebook.com/Royal Grumble. Don't forget to go to twitter.com/Royal Grumble Pod. You can email us at the Gmail, royalgrumblepod@gmail.com. G1 bracket posters are still available at royalgrumblepodcast.bigcartel.com. That is it. Say goodbye, Daryl.
We'll be covering World of Sport next week.
That's it. Say goodbye, Dan.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.